Welcome back, everyone. In today's episode, we'll be focusing on the ICF Code of Ethics. Now, recently, ICF has just announced a new updated Code of Ethics in 2025. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break down this document and study together and learn together. Now, whether you're in one of my classes or maybe perhaps you're a coach and you're just wondering, how does the Code of Ethics apply to me? Well, for one, the Code of Ethics is a critical piece of document for coaches to review, internalize, and also exemplify in your coaching practice. Now, this is not just supporting coaches who are on their learning journey, but also their credentialing exam and also in practice. In the Code of Ethics, I think now it's much more refined. It has clearer categories, and so it helps us to better understand what the whole process of ethical considerations are in the coaching process. Now, needless to say, one of the things that many leaders or coaches have asked me is, say, hey, Jedi, how do I kind of understand ethics in a simpler way? Well, you can think of ethics in a few categories. One, at the global level, we have what we call permissive ethics, which is what we call global ethics, something that most of all people believe in. For example, do good to others and avoid doing harm to others, right? So that is a common ethical consideration amongst most people. You have a global sort of ethics. You also have a local ethics, which is in a particular country or a region or a cluster of countries of islands, you may have a common set of ethics that everyone abide by. At a deeper level, you may have community ethics. What is permissible to maybe other communities? In your community, you have a certain form of ethics that guides how the conduct or natural conduct of your community. In every organization, there are also professional ethics. Different organizations may have their own code of ethics. Much like the ICF is the International Coaching Federation, where the coaches who ascribe to the credentialing pathways, the code of conducts, the core values, the core competencies described to the Code of Ethics. So by that ethics, regardless of which professional coach you acquire or you engage with, and as long as they're an ICF credentialed coach, you know that they abide by a common set of ethics. So it will not be different from one place to another. Now, there may be variations because every locality or every region, every culture may have an additional layer of ethical considerations. And as such, those will be more stringent as per the various regions in the world. So what ICF has done, it has laid the foundation of considerations for ethics and helped us to understand deeper in all these different layers. Now let's dive in deeper, and so that it allows us to kind of understand what these new updates are all about. This document is extracted from the ICF coaching website, and you can download it directly from the coachingfederation.org. And this is the reference of the latest update, which will go into effect from 1st April of 2025. Now, this has been approved by the board or the ICF board back in October 2024, and it's officially released and put in place as of 1st April 2025. The main 5 parts of the ICF Code of Ethics includes 1, purpose; 2, the ICF core values and ethical principles; 3, commitments for all within the ICF ecosystem; 4, ethical standards for ICF professionals; and 5, the Pledge of Ethics. And subsequently, we have appendices. So let's take a look at first the purpose. Now, it says here that the International Coaching Federation, or the ICF, is the world's leading coaching association. The ICF is made up of 6 family organizations. They call them the FOs. Together, they form the ICF ecosystem. The FOs are ICF professional coaches, ICF credentialing standards, ICF coaching education, ICF foundation, ICF coaching organizations, and the ICF thought leadership institute. The ICF Global Board provides the strategic direction for and coordination of the complete ICF ecosystem. And based on its mission and responsibility, ICF provides a code of ethics setting out ethical standards of professional conduct required to be adhered by all within the ICF ecosystem. So notice this keyword here. It's the reason for this code of ethics is a common set of conduct for all the 6 family organizations. So regardless whether you belong to the professional coach credential standards, which is the educators, the coaching education, foundation, coaching organization or thought leadership as well, they all ascribe to a common set of code. So whether acting as ICF professionals or in any other capacity, as long as you are within the ICF ecosystem, everyone abides by its mission. The roles and responsibilities governed by the ICF Code of Ethics include the ICF professionals, ICF staff members, volunteers and members of ICF boards, leaders of ICF communities of practice, and members of ICF global committees, task force, and core teams, whether they are ICF professionals or not. The ICF Code of Ethics incorporates the core values of the International Coaching Federation, or the ICF core values, as its foundation to understand the ICF Code of Ethics, ethical principles, and ethical standards of conduct. The ICF Code of Ethics serves to uphold integrity of ICF and the global profession by setting standards of conduct consistent with ICF core values and ethical practice principles, guiding ethical reflection, education, and decision-making, adjudicating and preserving ICF standards, ethical standards through the ICF Ethical Conduct Review or the ECR process, and providing the basis for ICF ethics training in ICF-accredited programs. Now, this Code of Ethics is intended to assist those persons subject to the code by directing them to the ethical factors, values, and principles that need to be taken into consideration whenever they need to engage in ethical reasoning and ethical decision making. So you notice there are two parts here. Number one, it's directing people or groups of people who are within this ecosystem to ethical factors, values, principles. So there's three parts here: factors, values, and principles, and to engage whenever we're found with ourselves with ethical reasoning situations or ethical decision making. And that can happen within a coaching session, or while you're contracting a client, or while you're prospecting, or while you're promoting your services as well, online or in person. Now, the ICF Code of Ethics applies when people represent themselves as belonging within the ICF ecosystem and or ICF professionals in their professional interactions. The challenge of working ethically means that those within the ICF ecosystem will inevitably encounter situations that require responses to unexpected issues, resolution of dilemmas, and solutions to problems. So one of the key critical ideas here, it's because sometimes we may face things that is not so clear. It could be gray. It could be issues that may be new to you, and maybe something that we've not considered before. So these unexpected issues and the hope to resolve some of these dilemmas, and also find some tangible solutions or solutions to the problems that are ethically sound within a certain framework. Now, people within the ICF ecosystem strive to be ethical even when doing so involves acting courageously, making difficult decisions that uphold the do good principle when it comes to their stakeholders. So I like what ICF has done here, because sometimes it's really hard to prescribe every single action or cover all grounds. And so the underlying principle that now permeates across the entire Code of Ethics is this idea of do good principle. So do good to others. Do unto others good, right? So when it comes to our stakeholders, whether internal stakeholders, external stakeholders, our clients, external organizations, communities, volunteer groups, government agencies, our individual clients, and even ourselves as well, we apply the do good principle. Are we doing good for them? Is that to the best interest, or is it to our interest, right? So we always apply the do good principle when it comes to the stakeholders. Now, Part 4 of the code articulates the ethical obligations of ICF professionals who are acting in their different roles as coach supervisor, mentor coach, trainer, coach, or student coach in training. The ICF Independent Review Board serves to uphold this Code of Ethics through Ethical Conduct Review process, or ECR process, which is applicable to all ICF professionals. Now, ICF mandates that all credentialed ICF professionals have continuous ethical education and training. Furthermore, ICF credentialed coaching education programs are required to provide ethics training as ICF considers ethics to be the foundational element of the coaching profession. So you will find that in my programs, whether I'm conducting the level 1, level 2, level 3, ACC to MCC pathway, or even the team coaching pathways as well, I have a long training process for the ICF Code of Ethics, and also a lot of ethical discussions in our mentor coaching process, also in our trainings, and also in my videos and podcast series as well. So to me, I find that this part, it's an ongoing process. So I will kind of deliver the coaching education in a way that incorporates ethical considerations throughout the entire process. So traditional way of training is they do ethical training at the start, and that's it. I integrate every part of the program with ethical considerations and infuse them with the Code of Ethics. So whether you are going through my program for the Certified Mentor Coach, Level 1, Level 2, or the Level 1, Level 2, Level 3 Mastering Coaching, or the coaching professional programs across my various organizations that I partner with, I want you to know that the Code of Ethics is such a critical element. Now, people may find that it's basic, but to me, it's fundamental. If coaches don't understand the need or the criticality of the Code of Ethics, then they may apply certain techniques on the client, but from a wrong principle or from a wrong approach. So it's important for us to embody the Code of Ethics. And that's why I like what ICF says here. ICF considers ethics to be the foundational element of the coaching profession, and we cannot understate that. Now, recently, I've also conducted workshops with ICF chapters, such as ICF Taiwan, and educating what the Code of Ethics is all about for people, refreshing their minds, refreshing their hearts about the Code of Ethics. And I think that's such a critical piece. Whenever you get a chance, especially for coaches, communities, educators, get a chance to discuss ethical considerations. Talk about the Code of Ethics with your team members or with your individuals as well, because these are foundational elements that we need continuous education and training, supervision, review, reflection, all about. Now, I'd like to point us to this part as well, that the ICF code applies to all individuals or entities falling within the ICF ecosystem. No individual entity falling within the ecosystem may opt out of any section or any part of the code, nor are they permitted to delete, modify, or amend any provisions within the code. So I like what it says here. In essence, you have to abide by everything here. Okay, and it's not a lot, but I think it gives us a very, very clear understanding of what is and what is not, and the do good principle. So let's go to section 2, the ICF core values and ethical principles. The Code of Ethics provides guidelines for implementing the core values and ethical principles and shows how they are put into practice. All values and principles are equally important, support one another, and all aspirational. All within the ICF ecosystems are expected to honor the core values and align with the principles in all their professional interactions. Now, the core values and the related ethical principles are listed on the ICF websites and reiterated below. And you can also find on the ICF website the core values as well. Let's go to the first value, professionalism. So that's value number 1. A commitment to a coaching mindset and professional quality that encompasses responsibility, respect, integrity, competence, and excellence. And I demonstrate professionalism by ensuring my professional conduct is consistently aligned with the value of humanity and the coaching mindset, competency in all my professional interactions. Number 2, being true and accurate in my statements. Number 3, committing to my lifelong learning and professional development. And that's the reason also why I create videos, articles, journals, podcasts for learners and coaches to have and support them on their lifelong professional development. So I encourage coaches as well to come and join me in some of my programs where I tailor customized programs beyond just the regular level 1 to level 3. And it's an ongoing continuous learning process. And number 4, supporting the ongoing professional or personal and professional development of my clients, students, and ICF professionals. And that's what I'm committed to do. And that's why if you see me, I have various YouTube channels such as Brave Your Story It's one of my latest brand where I help coaches, leaders to brave their own story. So subscribe to the channel and subscribe to my podcast, The Coach Within, where I help coaches to kind of develop and support them in their development as well, whether they are clients, students, learners, educators, or my fellow peers and ICF professionals. Number 5, delivering on my commitments. Number 6, being aware of ethical dilemmas and issues and responding with adherence to the ICF Code of Ethics. Number 7, adding to the knowledge base and sharing expertise and skills as ascribed in the ICF core competency. So notice this, adding to the knowledge base and sharing expertise. So I love to share, my techniques and tools, strategies, all available online. And I welcome learners, whether they are part of my coaching schools or maybe they have attended other programs before, to kind of watch the videos and the video series and my education as well to support their learning. And I welcome anyone because I'm here to support you regardless of whether you are from my coaching school or maybe you're someone who is looking for a coaching school right now. But I want you to know that whatever I deliver online, it's full. Right. So I'm not that kind of educator to kind of hide something and then hope that you sign up my programs to learn more. What I want to do is I want to provide as much value online, whether through my articles, my podcast series, or my YouTube videos as well, called Brave Your Story now. I really want to help every single person to add to their knowledge base and share my expertise and share my experiences. And I may bring in guests and co-hosts to kind of support your learning all in all. And notice this, in professionalism, there's also another part about being resilient and confident when facing with challenges. Behaving with respect and transparency in all business dealings related to coaching. And making clear and accurate representations in all my professional interactions in relation to coaching. And finally, committing to honesty, courage, consistency of action, ethical practice, and the highest standards for ICF and coaching profession. So I love this part. For ICF professionals, you need to read this, deepen your understanding about it, and integrate and internalize this part. Next, the second value, it's collaboration. I like this part as well because it says this, collaboration, it's a commitment to developing social connection and community building. And I work collaborative by making commitments and progress towards promoting professional coaching through fostering joint creativity and resourcefulness, partnering with others both within and across multiple social identity groups, being mindful and intentional in my own participation while working in any collaborative effort, cooperating with other ICF professionals, working with clients and sponsors, partnering and communicating with related professionals or professions, associations, and people in other coaching organizations and professions. So I love this part. It's a collaborative spirit. It's not my school is better, that school is worse. I like this school. No, it's not about who is better or who is worse. It's about this collaborative spirit because we can all learn from each other. In the very same light as well, it's not just coaching is better than mentoring, coaching is better than counseling. No, it's about bringing different communities of practices together, learning from each other, associations, learning from others. And that's how we can grow the coaching community globally and locally and regionally as well. So I like the spirit of collaboration. Now, the third value, it's humanity. It says here, a commitment to being humane, kind, passionate, respectful to others. And I demonstrate humanity by accepting that as humans, I'm not meant to be perfect. And with a coaching mindset, expressing imperfections is an opportunity for me to spread a culture of openness and self-acceptance. Knowing I always have more to learn and being open to others' point of view, creating authentic relationships that support honesty, transparency, and clarity. Also, continuously seeking and developing self-awareness, being willing to acknowledge and own my mistakes, accepting responsibility for my actions and learning from them, being modest about my achievements, and avoiding any behaviors or communication that suggests superiority in any way, and committing to inclusivity, dignity, self-worth, and human rights. So I love this part as well. I mean, sometimes when I look at it, I say, hey, it's so obvious, but sometimes it's important for us to kind of reflect and ask ourselves, are we embracing humanity? Being kind, being compassionate and respectful to others. Now, even when others may be different from us, because we're living in a world with different cultures, beliefs, religion, tradition, norms, and it's always important to know that I always have more to learn. Even if I have experienced 1,000 different coaching hours, 10,000 coaching hours, I may have met so many different people, I may have formed certain patterns and biases, but always putting yourself as a learner. I'm not perfect. I'm expressing imperfections, but I want to spread the culture of openness, self-acceptance, and willingness to learn. And so for me as well, I always tell my coaches as well, I said, hey, in my coaching program, it's not about me trying to just teach you, but it's about us co-creating a space for learning to happen always. Because as much as I'm an educator, I'm also a learner. As much as I'm a coach assessor, I'm also a learner. I'm learning all the time. And I want to always put myself in the place or position where I'm aware of my own personal biases and constantly seek to develop my own self-awareness and be willing to also acknowledge my mistakes. For example, sometimes some coaches may be worried like, oh, what if I say something wrong? Or what if I did something by mistake? And I said, hey, that's inevitable as a human being. Sometimes in our engagements with clients or in our coaching process, we might encounter some errors. And that's the point where we demonstrate our humanity by acknowledging those mistakes, taking responsibility for them, and learning from them, and upholding the professional conduct all in all. And that's why I like this part as well, which is the sense of commitment to inclusivity, dignity, self-worth, and human rights. Now, the fourth value, it's equity. A commitment to using a coaching mindset to explore and understand the needs of others so I can practice equitable processes at all times that create equality for all. And I'm equitable by recognizing and respecting all identity groups and their contributions, treating everyone with the same dignity and sense of fairness, bringing awareness to systemic patterns of conscious and unconscious biases in myself and in others, exploring to understand and bring awareness to social diversity, systemic equality, and systemic oppression, and how they show up in the coaching profession. Maintaining equality, and partnership in all my coach-client, trainer-student, mentor-coach, and supervisor-coach relationships. So one of the things that I always uphold is a sense of equity. So regardless of whoever my students are, or learners are, or clients are, I will try to my best to maintain this sense of partnership across all my professional relationships. So my role as a coach educator to the learners that comes to my program, usually I'll refer them to learners or coaches rather than students because I want them to feel that we are on equal grounds, we're partnering. When in my mentor coaching sessions as well, I hold a certain standard and fairness where I tell them, I said, hey, this is not working out, or these are some areas that it's worth considering. They take those feedback well and reflect on it and improve on them. Same thing for supervisor or supervision roles as well. So all your relationships have to maintain that high standard of equality and partnerships. And that's why we also have to be aware of any conscious or unconscious biases that is in myself, right? So I'll encourage coaches. As a coach, try to get a coach, engage someone, to also be your coach, to be a accountability partner. Because sometimes as we're going through this journey by ourselves, we may inevitably have biases that we may not be aware of. So these four values: professionalism, that's number one. Number two, collaboration. Number three, humanity. And number four, equity. Now, at this point, I want you to take your own personal notebook or your journal pad and share or write down what are these four, or how do these four core values resonate with you? What are some insights you're gaining from this short conversation that we have? And how are you going to kind of commit yourself to demonstrate all these core values as well? Okay. Now, Let's go to the next part, which is commitments for all within the ICF ecosystem. The values are aspirational and a robust guide for ethical reasoning and decision making. All within the ICF ecosystems are expected to honor and uphold these values in all their professional interactions. And this is our commitment, and that's why we say we mindfully perform our duties with integrity and accountability by thinking globally, being courageous in our thoughts, actions, and speech, being aware of our impact, and bearing the responsibility of any consequences. Commit to excellence through continued personal, professional, and ethical development. Remain alert to cultural filters and demonstrate respect for cultures different from our own through open conversations about cross-cultural and multicultural differences. Maintain awareness of relationships and how they are influenced by factors including biases, power dynamics, and forms of systemic oppression, and actively address these factors through continuing education and open conversations. Cultivate our ethical growth and maturity through continuous self-reflection and increased self-awareness. If an ethical dilemma arises, we will pursue assistance where needed to resolve the matter. Respectfully attempt to communicate our concerns with others if we become aware of an unethical conduct by them, and if necessary, seek ethical guidance for the next steps. And communicate with those who need to be informed of the ethical responsibilities established by this code by providing access to this code of ethics. Accept that behaving ethically means going beyond what is written in the code of ethics. So that's why I stated at the start, the code of ethics serves the foundational guide, but in each organization, each culture, each society, each country, each person, you may have your own ethical standards. And I want you to ascribe to a higher standard than what is prescribed here. Always go on behaving what's beyond what the code of ethics is all about. Okay. Now let's move to the fourth section. I think this is also a very important section as well that will list down all the ethical standards for professional coaches. So section number 4, ethical standards for professionals, for ICF professionals. Now, meeting these ICF ethical standards of conduct is the first of the ICF core coaching competencies or ICF core competencies. Demonstrates ethical practice, understands and consistently applies coaching ethics and standards. So you see me covering this in class as well, where we talk about this as the ICF CC1 or core competency 1. Now, the following ethical standards are applied through the professional activities of ICF professionals, regardless of an existing formal coaching relationship or not. These ethical standards are divided into 5 sections: agreements for client and or sponsor engagement, confidentiality and legal compliance, professional conduct and conflict of interest, commitment to delivering consistent value, professional integrity and accountability. So section number 1, agreements for client and or sponsor engagement. As an ICF professional, I communicate before coaching begins with coaching clients, sponsors, and or other involved parties that the coach is in a direct relationship with to explain the nature of coaching and to co-create coaching agreement regarding roles, responsibilities, confidentiality, financial agreements, and other aspects of the coaching engagement. 1.2, respect all parties' right to terminate the coaching relationship at any point for any reason during the coaching engagement, subject to the provisions of the agreement. Section 2, confidentiality and legal compliance. As an ICF professional, I, 2.1, maintain the strictest level of confidentiality with all parties involved, regardless of the role I'm fulfilling. 2.2, have a clear agreement about what information is exchanged and how it's exchanged among all parties involved during all coaching engagements. 2.3, have a clear agreement with clients, sponsors, and other involved parties about what confidential information may need to be disclosed to the appropriate authorities, example, illegal activity, required by law, validate court order or subpoena, or imminent likely risk of danger to self or unto others. 2.4. Maintain, store, and dispose of any records, including electronic files and communications, in a manner that promotes confidentiality, security, and privacy, and complies with applicable laws and agreements. 2.5. Fulfill my ethical and legal obligations to my coaching clients, sponsors, colleagues, and to the public at large, directly and through any technological systems I may utilize. Example, technology-assisted coaching tools, databases, platforms, softwares, and artificial intelligence. 2.6. Am responsible for my support, personal adherence to the relevant standards of the Code of Ethics. 2.7. Maintain the privacy of ICF professionals and the use of contact information, example, email addresses, telephone numbers, IP address, and so on, only as authorized by ICF or the ICF professional. 2.8. Comply with copyright laws and recognize and honor the contributions and intellectual properties of others, only claiming ownership of my own material. So that's why one of the things in the coaching process, it's important for us to highlight whenever we are leveraging on different tools that is created or authored by different individuals. And for me, in the coaching or in my coaching programs as well across level 1, level 2, level 3, whenever coaches use a particular model or framework, it's important for us to recognize that those models or frameworks belong and there are copyright regulations from those models as well. So when you're using them with your clients or any techniques with your clients, it's important for you to recognize and honor the contributions made by those individuals who had developed those products or frameworks or methodologies or techniques. And it's only right for us not to claim that those are ours, especially when we are presenting those information in front of our clients or any platforms. So I always make sure that all ICF professional coaches uphold a sense of integrity and copyright. Okay. Section 3, professional conduct and conflict of interest. As an ICF professional, I, 3.1, am aware of and discuss with all involved parties the implications of having multiple agreements and relationships and the potential for conflict of interest. 3.2, manage conflict of interest and potential conflict of interest with coaching clients and sponsors through self-reflection, coaching agreements, and ongoing dialogue. This includes addressing organizational roles, responsibilities, relationships, records, confidentiality, and other reporting requirements. 3.3. Resolve any conflict of interest or potential conflict of interest by working through the issue with relevant parties, seeking professional assistance, or suspending or ending the professional relationship. 3.4. Hold responsibility for being aware of and setting clear and appropriate and culturally sensitive boundaries that govern professional interactions, physical or otherwise. 3.5. Maintain fairness by being aware of my biases and addressing them so that I do not discriminate towards others based on my race, color, gender identity, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, age, spiritual practice, ability, and other groups, classes, and categories of human differences. And I think this is so important, 3.5, because there are many, many diverse groups. And we need to be inclusive. We need to be aware of our innate biases. Now, whenever we may disagree with other groups or categories of human differences, it's important that we highlight our limitations and, if need to, allow the client to make a choice whether to proceed or continue with the coaching engagement or have another coach replace you, right, to provide the best support for the client. 3.6. Am mindful of the level of intimacy in the coaching relationship. I do not participate in any sexual or romantic relationships with the clients or sponsors. If I detect a shift in the relationship, I take appropriate action to address the issue or cancel the coaching agreement. And I might add this beyond just sexual or romantic relationships. Sometimes these relationships could be financial or other informational relationships as well that might implicate you in other more serious dilemmas that you might encounter with. Okay, 3.7. Understand that the ICF professionals often serve in multiple professional roles based on prior training or experiences. For example, as a mentor, consultant, therapist, HR specialist, assessor, and other functional roles as well. And it's my responsibility to disclose to my client when I'm acting in a capacity other than the role of an ICF professional. 3.8. Disclose to clients the information of compensation and benefits that have been paid or received or will be paid for referrals. Section number 4. Commitment to delivering consistent value. As a ICF professional, I, 4.1, am aware of and in partnership with client, actively manage any power or status differential between us that may be caused by cultural, relational, psychological, I would say even traditional or traditions or contextual issues. 4.2. Recognize my personal limitations or circumstances that may impair my coaching performance or professional commitments. I will seek support if necessary, including relevant professional guidance, and this may require suspending or terminating my coaching relationships. 4.3. Remain alert to indications that there might be a shift in the value received from the coaching relationships, and discuss this with the client. If appropriate, explore changes in the coaching relationships and or the potential for a different coach, professional, or resource. Section number 5, professional integrity and accountability. As an ICF professional, I, 5.1, accurately identify my coaching qualifications and work within the boundaries of the level of coaching competency, expertise, experience, training, certifications, and my ICF credential. That means if you're an ACC or before an ACC, we have to let our clients know that we're in the process of getting and acquiring a professional or credential level, right? If you're PCC, work within the confines of PCC, likewise MCC as well. Now, 5.2, it says here, make verbal and written statements that are true and accurate about what I offer as an ICF professional. What is offered by ICF, the coaching profession, and the potential value of coaching. 5.3, adhere to the philosophy of doing good versus avoiding bad. Recognizing the impact of my professional conduct on my clients, stakeholders, and coaching profession and society. And I understand the ICF may, at its discretion and according to the ECR process, hold me accountable for violations of the ICF Code of Ethics, and I further agree that my accountability to ICF may include sanctions for any violations, such as mandatory additional coaching education, mentoring, supervision, or loss of my ICF membership and or ICF credentials. So there you have all this section, 5 sections of the ethical standards for ICF professional coach. And in the next series of programs, as well as even in class or our coaching education class, and my next series of podcasts and videos as well, I will break this down in more details and have more discussions with all of us, right? So I welcome you to join me in some of my classes, or continue to subscribe to my podcast series or my YouTube video series called Brave Your Story, or the podcast series, The Coach Within, to continue to engage deeply in all these different sections, right? I will spend more time diving deeper in this. Okay, now, once we understand this, we have number 5, which is the Pledge of Ethics, which says this: while fulfilling any role within the ICF ecosystem, I promise to uphold my ethical obligations by adhering to the ICF Code of Ethics in all my professional interactions. And I commit to doing my best to represent the integrity and professional reputation of coaching and the ICF. Now, that forms the key documents. And what comes after are the appendices, where ICF lists down the key definitions of terms used in the code, which you're more than welcome to kind of read through. So this document can be found on the ICF website on coachingfederation.org. Go under the Code of Ethics and download your latest copy. And this will come in place from 1st of April, 2025. And you expect another review happening 3 years later as well. Okay, so here you'll find all the key definitions that is used and how ICF defines them according to the various standards across this whole document. and take some time to read and understand what it means. Okay. And when ICF refers to what a coach is or what a mentor coach is, there's difference between a mentor coach or a mentor that is in the practice field, what's a sponsor, what is personal support, what's systemic equality, what's systemic oppression, even other terms such as coaching platform, coaching provider. For example, I'm a coaching provider, right? So I work with different coaching institutions as a director of coaching and education, and also coach assessor for portfolio pathways as well to support coaches through their credentialing levels. Okay. Now, ICF also has this about the DEIB. So take a moment to read as well what diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging means. And also, I think this is going to be very critical. Understand the definition of external coach, group coaching, ICF assessor, ICF certified. What does it mean? So you can only use the word ICF certified when you have an ACC, PCC, or MCC that are still valid. So if it expires, or if you are still in the process of applying for your ACC, you're still not yet an ICF certified. You're only an ICF certified once you get ACC, PCC, or MCC. And you can function both as an internal and external coach and understand the definition clearly, and also whether you're doing group coaching or team coaching. Yeah. Okay. Now, also, for example, like there's some coaches that claim to be an ICF assessor, but you can only be an ICF assessor after a period of time, additional trainings, and like for example, for myself, I'm an assessor across level 1, level 2 programs as well, and my level 3 programs, and also an ICF portfolio assessor. So I help ICF and support on the ICF team to do many of this conduct and assessment review. Okay, so there you have the entire Code of Ethics, the ICF Code of Ethics. I'm really excited because with this new updates, it provides greater clarity, understand the functional roles, functional sections, which really supports and deepens your understanding as a coach within the ethical framework of ICF. Now, beyond this, I encourage you as coaches as well to layer your own ethical standards. That means go beyond that, right? Raise the standard and bar for yourself. Also understanding your own culture and own practice as well. Always raise the bar higher in terms of your professional standards and values. And what I'm going to do in a subsequent video series or podcast series as well, and even in my class, we're going to have more discussions. We're going to have more case studies. We're going to discuss further. We're going to dive in deeper in each one of these components. So today, I gave you a quick overview of the updated ICF Code of Ethics. You can download them from the ICF website, and you can also follow me for more as I break down and discuss further the implications, the case studies, and also what it really means for you. Okay, for example, especially when I'm doing all these breakdowns, I'm referring mainly to the Asian market, Asian lens, because as an Asian myself, I'm coaching mainly a lot of people from within the Asia, APAC region, although I have clients from around the world as well, but I will be supporting learners mainly from within this region, Central Asia, Eastern Asia, Southern Asia as well, and within the Asia Pacific region as well. Okay. Now, if you enjoy what you listen, I want you to continue to listen, subscribe to this channel, and subscribe to my podcast, because this is where you can get great value from learning or continuous learning. Until next time, this is Jedi here, and I'll see you on the Coach Within.